We're back with Jim Rogers. He's the chairman of Rogers Holdings and author of A Gift to My Children. And quite honestly, this has been a depressing few minutes watching the news with Jim Rogers. You think I'm bad. You're just like, this guy. Let's start here. At the top of the hour, we were playing this. This is the future of America. And you said, who did that? And I said, me. And he paused, and you didn't say anything for a while, and you said, what?
Well, I said, I'm afraid it's too late. We're now the largest debtor nation, not in the world, in the history of the world, and our debts are skyrocketing at a geometric rate. They're going up at the rate of trillions of dollars a year. Nobody in Washington seems to understand or care, or certainly not doing anything about it, and it's getting worse. And worst of all, we're destroying in America the savers and investors. All the people who saved and invested all their lives are now getting zero on their savings. They're getting wiped out. And when a nation or a society destroys the people who save and invest, the people who do it right, in favor of the people who did it wrong, the spendthrifts, when you reward the spendthrifts and the layabouts, and you destroy the others, that really destroys your society from within.
Jim, I think I've said this on the air. I hope I have. I gave up a few years ago, maybe 18 months ago, on the idea that we could actually save the country the way it is. I don't know what it looks like on the other side, but it doesn't look like this. And I know that for a lot of people that's crazy town, but that's just the way it is. I mean, math is math is math. But I do still have a belief that if you strengthen the American spirit, if you go back in and try to encourage ingenuity and entrepreneurship and common sense and thrift and all the things that we have destroyed along the way, there's a remnant that remains that can, please say yes, please say that there's a possibility that that's not too late, that you can restart on the other side.
What I'm explaining is we're destroying all those people. We're destroying the people who go to school and study and work hard and try to get good marks and then get a good job and pay off their debts and save their money. We're destroying those people at the expense of other people who don't care.
Okay. Let me, you're probably going to say this is crazy right off the bat, but I'm trying to think, and I don't know how currency works. I have no idea how currency trading works.
I don't either, so go ahead.
Okay, all right. If you think about a redistribution, this comes from an article that I read last week from a big currency destroyer. And he said, you know, the Western world is just, it's going to be destroyed. He said, but the emerging markets, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. And I thought, you know, we have a president that thinks of the West as a oppressor nation. And we have a society that is trying to redistribute the wealth, and I'm trying to convince America that when you talk about redistribution of wealth, America is the wealthiest 1%. Even the bottom of the ladder in America is the top 1% everywhere else. Yes. Starts here, it goes everywhere else. Trying to put together what the unions, the labor unions are saying. Well, you know, we can, workers of the world unite. Well, you can't have a union that represents workers equally in India and Detroit. That doesn't make sense. You can't do that. So you have to bring things to parity, right? If I took money and bought, and I know you can't because unless you were designing the new system, you wouldn't know what currencies would win. But if you believed in that kind of stuff, couldn't you take $1 million and buy, you know, the yak someplace and buy $1 million of worthless, now emerging country worthless currency compared to the dollar? And if you knew which currencies were going to be relatively stable, couldn't you make a fortune that way?
Absolutely. It's the same with anything else, though, Glenn. If you buy worthless land in rural Texas where they discover oil, or they can farm, or it turns into a subdivision, you're going to make a fortune. There are currencies now that you can invest in. The U.S. dollar, listen, I don't like saying this. I'm an American citizen. I'm an American taxpayer. But I see what our government is doing to us. I told you before, they're ruining, they're destroying the people who save and invest at the expense of huge debts that are going higher and higher and higher.
So what's the currency?
Well, I do own the U.S. dollar at the moment. Well, there are Myanmar. Myanmar is at the same place. You want to look it up?
Where is the Myanmar? Where is it? Sounds like some sort of a radish desert animal.
It used to be called Burma. Remember Burma?
Mm-hmm.
Used to be called Burma. Myanmar, Burma, today, is where China was in 1978. They said, we've been wrong for the past 49 years. We were crazy. They turned socialist. They closed off to the outside world. They became crazy socialists, et cetera, et cetera. Burma in 1962...
Matt, can I get a pen? I just want to write some stuff. Go ahead.
In 1962, Burma was the richest country in Asia. Burma was the richest country in Asia in 62. They closed off. They said, get out of here, the rest of the world. We don't want anything to do with the rest of the world. Now they're the poorest nation in Asia. There are sanctions against them by everybody in the West anyway. But now they've said it didn't work. And we're changing, just as China did in 1978. So if you want to find in one of those countries, you can go to Burma. You can buy that currency. There are things like that.
Is it like China where the currency's closed and trapped?
Semi right now. So you can go there and buy the currency if you want to.
But you can't have that currency here.
It's not convertible. No, it's not. Well, listen, first of all, until, what is this, December, until November, they had 5 or 6 different currencies in the country. It was a shambles. It was literally a shambles. There where you could buy this from the bank and you could buy this from the black market. It was different kinds of currencies. They're right now unifying the currency. So when I said semi, it's because they're just now getting a proper currency. This is a country that didn't even have a single currency 3 months ago. It was that much chaos. So you find a place like that that's a disaster, which is now opening up. You can make a fortune.
You live in Singapore?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody I know that has, well, I don't know how much you're worth, but I imagine you're worth more than I am.
I doubt it.
But people that have real money have all said, Singapore, 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 get your money out now, get it to Singapore, get over to Singapore if you can, because they say that it has a lot of the characteristics that America used to have. Is there any place in the world that's going to be untouched by what's coming?
No. Look, America is the largest economy in the world. Europe, as an entity, is a bigger economy even than America. So when you have problems in the 2 largest economies in the world, everybody's going to be affected. Everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're Myanmar or Singapore or China.
China. Do you think China will fall?
Of course they will.
Yeah.
China sells to the rest of the world.
So if China, I mean, let me ask you this. This is the last question.
Last question. I'm having fun.
I know what it's like being like at a party with me now. This guy's like, oh my gosh. All right. So China, that starts to fall apart. I mean, you have, you're already on the verge of revolution over there. That nobody will talk about. The world always gets to a point similar to this. And after they've tried all these other little tricks, then somebody says, war, that'll pull us out. We headed for World War III?
Probably. I'm not sure it'll be called World War III. I'm not sure how it'll work. But whenever we've had economic distress and turmoil, especially when we have it worldwide, people always get into wars. Now, we've had wars for a few thousand years. Nobody's ever been able to stop them. They're foolish. They're stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of human being life. It doesn't do any good for anybody. Even the winners lose wars in the end. So wars are no good. But politicians always got to blame somebody, and it's very easy to blame the foreigners. You know who they blame? They blame the bankers, because nobody likes successful people. They blame the foreigners, because the foreigners have strange languages, strange religions, strange food. They smell bad. Their food smells bad, those stupid, horrible foreigners. You know who else they blame? Journalists. You, because they say, Well, if the journalists didn't write about these things and didn't talk about these problems, we wouldn't have problems. So they blame those three groups, and the next thing you know, there's a war. It's always happened that way. I'm not very in favor of war. As I say, it's not good, but
somehow because I could do two of the three categories, but somehow I believe in this nation today, the Al Jazeera foreign journalist will be safe.
Oh, you think so? Why? Because they're going to move?
In the elite circles in this nation, yeah, they're already holding them up as more sources of truth here in America. Our president is holding them up as sources of truth compared to Fox News or even CNN.
I don't know about all that, but as far as I'm concerned, I thought we have freedom of the press in America, and that everybody should be able to say what they want to, and you should be able to have.
I agree with you.
But I would tell you one problem in America, if quickly, you know, when I go on, I'm interviewed by a lot of people around the world, and when I come on something like you, they say, how can you be on a station like that? When I go on the socialists, they say, how can you be on a station like that? When I go on the nuts, they say, how can you be on a station like that? The problem is we won't talk to each other in America.
I'll talk to anybody, my friend.
I understand, but I'm just telling you, in America.
I know.
In America, which
and we've never been like that. We weren't like that before.
We had freedom of the press in the United States,
We also didn't. I don't remember my parents saying, I can't talk to him because he voted for this guy. I don't remember that. It didn't happen.
I can't believe people say, you were interviewed by the New York Times. There's something wrong with you.
Well, that I'm going to stick with that one.
Jim Rogers, thank you very much. Talk again.
Thank you.